name is Cindy and today I am here with another Shadowhunters episode 3 and 4 review for you guys. I'm so excited to be here. So relevant, so up to date. I'm excited to talk about these episodes. So much has happened since the first 2 episodes. I will link that review down below for you guys if you haven't watched my review of episode 1 and 2. And also I want to get into that these are going to be spoilery details. I'm going to try not to spoil too much from the book unless it arises, and I will give you fair warning if there are bookish spoilers. And of course, talking about the TV show is all spoilers, so if you haven't seen any of season 3 yet, I suggest not watching this, and if you have watched the first 2, go and check out my review. But I'm going to waste no time today in getting into the spoilery details. So let's start with episode 3 of season 3 of Shadowhunters. So I'm first going to talk about the continued storyline, and then I'll get into some other details of things that happen throughout the episode regarding specific characters. But we start out with an intense beginning with a girl walking down a street talking on the phone, and this shadowy character appears, and it is our owl who has been going around and like recruiting people, I guess, for this weird altar magic thing that's going on. So she puts up an awesome fight. Like, I would be so terrified if that were me, and I do not carry any of like pepper spray or anything in my bag, so like, girl, I think I need to get some after watching that. Our character gets away, and our speculation on who this owl character like is a main topic obviously in our storyline at the moment, as well as this episode. And through this investigation, of course, Jace is still in some weird dreaming state of Jonathan appearing, so he's not really with it, and he sort of comes up with the idea that Jonathan is our owl. And of course, Clary thinks that he's going a little crazy, and she then speaks to Isabel about that because she's like, don't really know what's going on here. But Jace also opens up to Clary about the fact that he's having these like crazy dreams about Jonathan appearing, and hence why he thinks that it is Jonathan. He thinks they're prophetic, that he's getting these dreams, and that's the reason why Jonathan's the owl. So as we follow on, we are following Morgan, who is our girl from the beginning. She is alive, and we're following her to her event out in the clubs, and we're trying to like find out if the owl's gonna be there to stalk her and whatnot. So Izzy joins along with Clary and Jace to the club, and my god, was I so wrong about the doctor guy. I'm so sorry. I talked about it in my last episode, and the other storyline which I thought was really random, which will lead into nothing, but it did. He was out of the clubs, and I was like, girl. So she was not really interested because she was on mission trying to look after Morgan, but she did hand over her phone number to Mr. Doctor, which I'm not mad about because I think he's gorgeous, and this could be a little interesting storyline on the side, even though it's not really the love story that goes on in book 4 necessarily, but hopefully down the track that will happen. So at the club, Jace is having visions of seeing Jonathan, and he does sort of lead out to the back room where they have a fight, which, you know, we're not really sure at this point if he's actually there or if it's just a vision, although he does pop away. So, I mean, that gives us a pretty clear idea that Jonathan's not really there. Clary and Izzy lose sight of Morgan in the club, and my favorite part is when we just see like a phone on the stairs, and she's like, that must be Morgan's, and I was like, how do you know that? Like, how do you know what her phone looks like? So anyway, that's fine. So we lead outside, and we have a fight with the owl who has Morgan, and Morgan is now a demonic creature. So Clary fights the owl guy, and Izzy goes after Morgan. I really liked the scene, the fight sequence between the owl and Clary, and I like that he has her up like in like a chokehold, and she's like, is it you, coward? Like, is it like, you know, she's asking Jonathan, is that him? And I really just thought that was a great little scene there because, I don't know, we didn't know at the time if it was him or not, so I really enjoyed that whole sequence. So we find out that Morgan has been put in the lockup in the Institute, obviously just to see and monitor and, you know, see what happens with her if the owl comes looking. And at the episode, the explosive moment where we find out that Jace is the owl, and I was like, girl, I did not expect that. I'm so excited about this whole thing. I mean, it speaks true to the book a bit. Obviously, it's a bit different again with the storyline of what's happening, but it's not too far from what we're going with here, so I was really, really happy about that. And I wasn't really sure if this was for real when it popped up at the end. I was like, is this really him? But, I mean, as we saw into episode 4, which I will get to, it's a thing. The next topic I want to talk about is the dinner party. So So Mama Lightwood is coming into town for a dinner party and she wants to speak to obviously Alec, Izzy and Jace about a few things, and you know, we're not really sure what's gonna happen. So Alec's like, she could be 10, she could be crazy, so let's just like see how it goes. And I love that he's cooking for his mom. He's cooking her like this stew that is his grandmother's recipe, and he's just as bad as cooking as Izzy is. And I just found that so funny that he like gave Magnus a try and he was like, oh god, and he was just like whizzed up something nice for the stew. But his mom is like so happy, and it was just like a really nice, like, I don't know, moment just to have her so like, for once, because usually she's quite a serious and stern character. So I really enjoyed the whole like dinner party sequences, but I was very shocked by the whole stripping of runes thing that's going on. Now this is not a thing that happens in the book, but I'm not mad about it necessarily being in the TV show because it does add some drama, which I mean TV shows always do that. So she's going to be stripped of her runes due to the fact that she did a lot for the circle. She recruited a lot of members and stuff, but I was like, oh, that like sucks that she's getting like hit up harder than Robert, her former husband, I guess, who's just been sent to the LA Institute. And I was like, hey, LA Institute. That is a reference to the Dark Artifices series, the third book series that Cassie Clare is writing. So I was just like, I love the shout out there. But yeah, I thought it was really harsh, and I'm just like, okay, so she's just gonna be a mundane now. That just seems very sad. So I'm not sure if they're gonna go through with this necessarily. I guess we'll find out, and we'll have to find out if Izzy and Jace, you know, get the news at some point. But I'm definitely interested to see if this is like something we're actually gonna go through with. The next character I want to talk about is Simon. Now, I love Simon in all of these episodes, and this one was like a sort of quite a big one for him in the regards to his mark on his head. So we're doing a bit of research to find out the mark because no one knows what the mark is. Magnus doesn't know what it is, which I was surprised about, honestly, that he wouldn't at least know something. And it still hasn't been spoken, the particular mark, the name of it, which I know from the books what the mark name is. In the second episode, his mark through one of the werewolves, and he is not healing correctly, so interesting. I'm not sure if that's just a magical side effect, but interesting. And also when Simon reaches out to Raphael, which I'll get into what he's doing in a moment, like throws him across the bloody ground as well, and I'm just like, oh my god, Simon, stop getting into fights, you're just gonna hurt everyone. I did love that he was like so worried about this mark that he decides to try and go back to the Fae realm, and he decides to jump into the river that usually allows him to portal into the fairy realm. Like, it's a nice scene of him just running for it, and then next second you see him like wringing out his clothes on like a park bench, and you're like, yeah, they locked you out, honey. What did you expect? And I love him and Maya together. They're just working so well as a couple, and I'm just enjoying their relationship as it is. The last character I want to touch on is Raphael. This was a very sad episode for Raphael. I felt so bad for him. But we see him walking along with this older lady, and we do find out that it is his sister and his last living relative, which I didn't recall from the books that he was with his sister throughout this time. I think that it was like his granddaughter or something else from the books, but I'm not mad. I feel like the sister like heartstring like pulled a little harder there, so that was lovely. So he was with Rosa, and she unfortunately passes away in this episode, so of course Raphael is very distressed, and Izzy does come over to console him and comfort him at one point, and they do get a bit close quarters there, and you know, old blood moments come back, and you know, she gets a bit like, oh no about it. But it was really sad, and obviously he was very upset, and that's when Simon went to go speak to him, and he gets thrown across the room. But we do get more on this Heidi situation. I don't know if we knew her name before this episode, but the blonde crazy chick, we find out someone he's been holding captive, and she did mention something about being burnt, so we do find out more about that in episode 4. Again, I will get to that, but you know, she gets out and free, and so it's a bit of a panic. But I'm just interested to see what we're going with here, because I had a feeling it was supposed to be some sort of storyline, and I will talk about it right now. So if you don't want to hear this because it's a book thing, which I don't think that it's going to be that at all, but I'm not really sure, just mute this video until this little picture goes away. I'm just going to talk about some book spoilery details for this section. So I'm not really sure at all if this is supposed to be going along the Maureen line. Obviously in the TV show we met Maureen as like in the first season, and she's like a darker skinned girl who was singing with Simon, but in the books Maureen is like a 14-year-old girl who is like a super fan of Simon's, and he accidentally turns her when he first becomes a vampire. So I wasn't sure if that's where we were going with this Heidi storyline, because she kept mentioning I want to meet my sire, and I was like, is that going to be Simon? I don't know. So that's where I'm with this storyline at the moment. I'm not sure that we're actually gonna go there though. I don't know if I want to or not, because obviously we've mixed around the characters now, but might be where we're going with this storyline. The last thing I want to mention about Heidi is another thing she said, other than obviously being burnt and all those crazy things and wanting to meet her sire. She said that she's been at Bleeder Den since she was 16, so I'm just like, okay, so is that how she got turned maybe? I'm not sure, but I'm hoping we find out that whole story bit, because that sounds so interesting. Also, she's a gorgeous actress. My goodness, she is so pretty and I love it. Alright, I think that's all the things I have to say for episode 3. Stick around and I will be talking about episode 4 right now. Alright, episode 4. This one might be a little more brief than usual. I decided to watch it for the first time and do notes. Usually I watch it again and do my notes then, but I wanted to get this done ASAP so I could get it up as soon as possible for you guys. So I'm sorry if this one's a little more vague, but I think we're gonna do alright. So we open on Morgan in the cell in the institute, and she's screaming about Sarah in this really husky, like demonic voice, and apparently it's her twin sister, and obviously the trait that's been going on is the demonic person has been wanting to kill a family member, so that's what she's doing there, and Alec is investigating that, of course. Then we see Maya is super mad that Luke kicked Simon out of the boathouse, but that's just sort of their relationship. He's like a father to both Simon and to Maya, so she's really hurt by that fact. Then we open on Heidi, and yes, we love this bitch. She's crazy. So she's going to a blood donor van, and she starts drinking the blood and decides to turn the van guy, because why not? So that was like a crazy scene, but I loved it because she's just like a spooky, beautiful character, and I just love her so much. And then in the morning we see Izzy and Clary going to investigate what Heidi left behind, and of course we find out through the stupid tracking room, which I'm not a fan of. This whole like draw a rune on your hand and then like hold onto the thing and we can track them. Like, I hate it. I'm not a fan. That's what the freaking sensor is for, in a not as an exact way. That's like a demon thing if they're around. But anyway, that's kind of what the sensor is for. Thank you, Shadowhunters and your stupid rune thingies. Just having a moment, I am. So they're there the next morning, and Izzy is like freaking out because the doctor man keeps texting her, and she's like, I'm not interested. But it's like, girl, you are interested. Just flow with it. I'm so excited to see what's gonna happen with that. But I like that they had a little girly chat, Clary and Izzy, about that situation through this whole fighting thing. So what I found interesting was that we next see Heidi at Simon's boathouse, and she's just like, Simon, like, and she saw his like rock solid panda shirt, and she's just like chilling. I was like, this is going with the storyline that I mentioned before, that if it's a book spoiler I won't say, but if you did watch that, I feel like it's definitely going along the lines of that in a weird way. So I guess we'll find out in due course if that's the storyline we're going with here, but I hope so, in a weird way, because it should be interesting. Then of course Raphael shows up at Simon's boathouse and to kill Heidi, and that doesn't go in his favor, because later on, as we see in the episode, he is locked on a bloody rooftop where she tries to kill him for enslaving her, and we find out that he was actually trying to use her to find a cure for this daylighter business, so that all of his vampires, his family in the Dumont, can become daylighters. So she's obviously pissed about that and tries to kill him, and we see his foot burning off, which is a bit crazy, and I was like, oh my god. But I'm happy that Raphael's alive. I mean, I didn't expect him to die, but that was a crazy scene. Like, I was like in super suspense watching that whole scene. And just before we get to the Raphael scene, we have Clary and Izzy having another heart-to-heart about her relationship with Raphael, because of course she has this doctor man that she's like, not into. But like, her and Raphael have a really like special connection. She's just like, it's just something, like everything is right there except for the one thing. There's just one thing that's not right in their like almost perfect relationship, and obviously they have difficulties with their blood tie things, so I understand. But it's just so funny to have this as a relationship in the TV show, and how much I've grown to love it, even though it's definitely not a thing in the book. I I really enjoy it because I think in the book Raphael is a lot younger. I think he's like 16 or something. I know our character's around that age, but he's definitely a little bit younger. Maybe he's 14. He's definitely younger than the rest of them, so this is like not a thing in the book, but I am loving it for the TV show. Going back to the rooftop with Raphael, he does lie about the fact that he doesn't know Heidi at all, that she's just a random vampire that just tried to burn the crap out of him and kill him. And of course then we see Izzy downstairs with Raphael and she's like, why did you try and hide this whole thing? Like obviously that was a revenge plot because she wanted to burn you. She didn't just want to kill you. She was like, you must suffer. And that was a sad moment because I think that they could be so nice together, but she said, leave the city because you just causing too much trouble, Raphael, and also the temptation I think is too much for her. But that was a really sad moment that she was so disappointed in Raphael. Oh. And to end the whole episode, we see scary black lady blood person show up at Magnus's door wanting help with, I think it's with Jace and like Clary, like trying to break up their relationship because obviously that's the whole nightmare thing, which I'll get into. But interesting. I don't know if she's the character still that I think she's gonna be, but I hope so because that's so cool. Alright, it's Jace time. So when we open on Jace, which I do think is the actual beginning of the episode, he is at the place with the scary lady. I like that I just don't have any good descriptive words here. Anyway, and he is the owl and he's under this like weird control thing where he's just sort of like with her and she's just mad because he didn't capture Morgan. So it's his mission to go and capture Morgan because she's one of these 33 disciples that she must bloody surrender for Jonathan's benefit and living and yada yada. But she doesn't like Jace and she's using him because he killed Jonathan and that's her baby, aka her son, which we find out I guess is an official thing that it's a son because Valentine reached out to her because he wanted a really strong son. She did raise him in Edom I think for a bit there, so that makes him like a demonic Shadowhunter weird thing. That's why he's super strong. So we do get a little bit more information about that, but she sends Jace and off he goes to the Institute in his like weird scary dark mood. Just as he's about to go downstairs and see Morgan, Clary breaks him out of this trance and it's so weird. He doesn't know where he's been for the past couple hours. It's literally like he's just forgotten time. So that was crazy and also leads into our other bit where Alec thinks that he has a mental illness just like his mother Celine because she went a bit crazy and she did end up committing suicide. As to the TV show, I'm not sure if that's the same as the books, but everyone is concerned for him and Clary is the most concerned that it's something to do with bringing him back from the dead. And she does want to tell the others about that as well as just like that he's not okay. So that was a whole drama moment where he was like, no, 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 no. But yeah, I just love this sort of double act thing he has going on. It's really strange. And we do open up again a bit more about Celine because Luke and Jace have a like powwow at the Jade Wolf, which I thought was really weird when it opened to that scene. I was like, what are they doing together? This is so weird. But he did want to talk about his mother and father and he thinks that he's going crazy. So that was really sad and emotional. So later on the episode, we see Jace walking around just on the bridge and just chilling, and then the scary lady walks up to him. She's like, what are you doing? And he's like, who are you? And she goes like this and says sleep, and he like falls asleep, and then he's in his like weird like static stoic mood again for her to like tell him what to do. And so he's back on mission to go and find Morgan, and she's really confused why he snapped out of this, and she realized that it's his love for Clary that is so powerful that it breaks him out of his like mind control she has him under. So she's like, I'ma take care of this Clary business, so I'm a bit scared of what's going on. And I think that links through to her showing up at Magnus's door at the end of the episode. I assume that's what's going on here. Ooh, girl, this is scary. So Jace walks into the Institute building as himself, but as he gets down to the level where Morgan is being held, he has his owl outfit on and he slams her against a wall, and I thought she was going to die because that's what it looked like. Magnus, Alec and Clary go to see Morgan in the cell. She's been like cleansed of all demonic, you know, demonic stuff, and she's back to her human form. So I'm not really sure what he was doing there. I'm not sure if it was an act of his own accord or if it was what he was told to do by the lady because, you know, we can't use her anymore. I'm not really sure what was going on there, why she was cleansed and didn't die. Who knows? I guess we might find out, we might not. And it's very, very sad at the end when Jace wakes up from his bed and he's like freaking out because in his dreams, he, you know, it looked like he was sleeping, but he was not because he was being the owl. So he's just like having a cry to Clary at the end because he's like, I think I'm losing my mind. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Jace, you'll work through it, I'm sure. But it was very emotional. I didn't like it. Now on to Simon. Oh my god, Simon! Oh my god, Simon. Okay, I'm so ready to talk about this. I completely forgot about this whole storyline, and not until they said the name Kyle did it all click, and I was like, so this is a massive spoiler from the book, so I'm not going to talk about it obviously because I don't want to give anything away, but this is a plot line here with Mr. Kyle, and we do see a moment of that when he's speaking to Luke. Simon is under the Praetor's control now, and I was like, girl, I'm not sure if you don't know what that is already, and so I won't say again for the purpose of that, but oh my god, I'm so excited about this whole storyline. I completely forgot. So the whole thing is that Simon got kicked out of the boathouse and is looking for a apartment, and then this guy named Kyle runs him over with his bicycle, and he goes upstairs to his apartment, loves it, but Simon is having an issue thinking that Kyle is a mundane, and that's all I'm gonna say about that, and is worried about the whole blood thing and the eating, and he's just worried about the privacy issue. But Kyle is the nicest person ever, and I'm so excited for this like friendship to happen because I just forgot about it. And you know, Simon having a roommate, it's just so exciting because I love this so much. And also I was like, this character dude is so familiar. I thought it was at first Boo Boo Stewart, who is from Twilight and Descendants and stuff, and I was like, no, but this guy's Australian. I was like, I've seen him somewhere, I know it. Love it so much that he's Australian. It's not true to the character that he plays, but that's fine. I love it anyway. Anyway, he's Ilian from The 100, and I was like, oh, the crossover. I loved Ilian in The 100. And he's also been in, of course, a couple Australian TV shows, and I'm just like, I'm so excited for this because he's so cute, and it's just gonna be a great storyline. I just want to spoil things, but I'm just not gonna say them, but it's so difficult. But I'm looking forward to this whole relationship between Kyle and Simon, and it's gonna be so great, like him to have a mate and like to have a roomie. I'm so here for this storyline. So that's all of my thoughts and opinions for episode 3 and 4 of Shadowhunters. I am so getting invested in this series. It's shaping up to be so great. I definitely think it's a step up from season 1 and 2. We're getting there. Still a few cringy bits here and there, but we're getting a bit better with our storyline and being a bit more twisted and deceptive. So I'm really enjoying it, and I'm enjoying doing these reviews. It's just so much fun to talk about all the things that happen, and I hope you are enjoying watching it as well as watching the TV show. So typical that my camera just died in the last like 1 second of me filming. But all I wanted to say was thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Oh, this is awkward. But Morgan, ooh, close. I love that I called him that accidentally. But we see him walking wrong a lot. Someone he's been, I don't remember what he's from though. Shit.